In the Portland metro real estate market, this year's market stats have generally been worse for sellers than last year's. However, we've been crossing some thresholds as we move through the year, and we passed another one that's good for sellers and maybe not so great for buyers. Let's take a look at the numbers. The average sale price is one of those numbers that has been mostly lower or worse for sellers this year than it was last year at this time. That is, except for the past couple of months when we started having weeks where we've been popping back into positive territory, sometimes only just slightly, like this last week when the average sale price was just 0.2% higher than last year. Overall, we're still trending probably behind last year's numbers, but not by much. When it comes to buyer demand, we've been holding pretty steady these last 3 months or so, with number of new purchase agreements coming in at 650 plus or minus. That's every week. This last week was no exception, with exactly 650 new deals. Last year at this time, that number was much higher at 812. Keep in mind, though, that interest rates in July of 2022 were below 5.5% for the 30-year fixed, and most lenders right now have rates that are in the 7s. One of the statistics that we follow where the numbers have already flipped versus last year is the number of Lockbox Opens, another measure of buyer activity out there on the active market. We ended up with more opens this year than last year for probably about the last 4 weeks straight now. A third measure where the numbers have already inverted this year is the supply of active listings. For about the 4th week in a row, we've had fewer homes for buyers to choose from versus last year. This last week we came in with about 6.6% fewer active listings. On the other hand, the number of new listings, new to the market, has been consistently lower this year than it has last year, keeping our supply kind of constrained. This last week we saw only 622 new listings. Last year at this time that number was 720. That leaves us with the statistic that only just inverted for the first time this year. That was the average sale price versus the original listing price. So last year at this time, sellers had to discount about 2.2% off their original asking price in order to secure a sale on their home. This year that number is down to 1.6%. So for the first time this year, sellers appear to be faring better on the market than last year at this time. However, keep in mind that this difference could also indicate that sellers this year are simply being more realistic about their pricing than they were last year. That being said, number is still better. Well, that's all the excitement I have for you this week. Thank you as always for watching to the very end. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button and share the video with someone who might appreciate the insight, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you next week.